Is it just me, or is there a weirdly low number of Australians on this plane? Welcome to Lost All Caps.
It's a recognisable accent.
Another peak accent performance from us. You know, just to add in that one.
I mean, it's better than some of the ones in the show, so...
Hey, you're talking about the numbers.
You're talking about the numbers.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Velvet.
And welcome to Lost All Caps, episode 23! Exciting!
/22.
Yes. So, it's exciting for us because 23. However, the show, don't be like, ooh, it's the 23rd episode of the show.
Because it isn't.
It isn't. It's the 22nd episode of Series 1, Born to Run.
It's just been a week. I'm really tired today.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a knackering week, haven't we? I feel like I've not seen you much. I think
No.
we've both been really busy.
We've barely seen each other because we've both just been out constantly. I think between, what was it? Sunday night we recorded last weekend. I've barely seen you since then.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of fun. It's like we're using this opportunity to actually catch up with each other.
How's your week been?
What's been going on in your life?
Because we've both just had a lot of stuff happen all at once.
Yeah, we're just so busy. Ugh. Two exciting lives. But that's not interesting to all of you, I'm sure. What is interesting to all of you is I'm on a new notebook.
Whoa!
I know!
Holy shit.
I've completely filled up my Beetlejuice one, which I had already used it as
I was going to
part
say,
of,
it wasn't brand new.
No, my notes for university. So it was kind of half full when we started. But it's still a momentous occasion, I think, to have finished a whole notebook.
Yeah.
And so I found this one. I'm calling it my Magnus Archives notebook because it's covered in eyes.
Of course you are.
Yes. And I've got my Magnus tie on today as well. That was an accident. That's exciting. And I thought...
Are you about to ask me about if I've had any recent supernatural experiences?
Yeah. Statement begins.
So Born to Run.
I was on the Lost Island.
I was on this crazy island and I found a hatch.
Yeah.
And I had a weird dream.
Teresa falls up the stairs.
That would actually be really sick. Sorry to derail your preamble, but that would be to rewrite experiences in Lost as Magnus Archive statements.
Oh, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be so much
to rewrite
fun.
Deus Ex Machina as a Magnus Archives episode.
Oh, that's a little project for me, I think. I would eat that, actually. That would be so much fun. Because I know you've not listened to it. For the listener, I'm a huge Magnus Archives fan. I've recently got into it, although I say recently, I'm literally on the penultimate episode. I've got one episode left, and I'm saving it because I'm like, I need to be in the right frame of mind to listen to it.
Gotta be ready.
Do you know what I mean? I usually just listen to it while I'm eating my breakfast or something, but I'm like, I can't start the day with the finale of
the last episode,
the Magnus Archive. So I'm trying to find the right time and space to listen to it. Velvet's never listened to it. And I keep trying to convince them.
I know quite a lot about it because even before Ariel started listening, a lot of my friends have been into it for years. I knew all about all the theories and stuff before Ariel did.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh yeah, the corruption and stuff, and you were like, what?
Yeah, I know. But there is one episode which is really Lost coded. I don't know if anyone out there, I'm sure you might know which one I'm talking about. I don't remember the name of it, but it's one of the ones, it's the one with all the numbers, basically. You're talking about the numbers. There's one where they talk about the numbers, and there's a bunch of numbers, and it's very Lost coded to me. So yeah, that would be super fun to do. Lost
that would be really
canon
cool.
events as Magnus Archives. That would be so much fun. So in a sense, I have a statement for you.
Go on.
I thought that this notebook was empty when I found it in my little cupboard. But it turns out no. It turns out I apparently tried to start a diary in this notebook.
I see.
In 2020.
Oh god.
There's about 5 entries. It's not very, comprehensive. So I wanted to, if you'll indulge me, I wanted to just read out the first entry, really. In this, I think it's quite spectacular. It's like I had this incredible foresight, and it is just a miracle to me. It's so insane. So I feel like you all need to know. You all need to hear this. I just want to preface this by saying I was 17 when I wrote this, so some of it is incredibly cringe. Thursday, the 30th of January, 2020. I just wanted to write about today, even though nothing particularly special or interesting happened. I was just overwhelmed today by how happy I was. I think this feeling has come about because people have been talking a lot about uni recently, and that's stressing me out, which is when I realised I don't want to think about the future because I'm really happy with my life right now. ! And right now is underlined. I've got great friends. I love spending time at college, the sixth form college that I was at. I've got a fun job. I've got a hilarious and loving family.
Hello.
Cameo from Velvet. And then this is the part that gets me. I just wanted to remember this feeling. Carefree, happy, like things are going right.
Interesting.
Wednesday, the 18th of March, 2020. The world has gone insane.
Nice.
And then it continues as I describe the first day that we went into national lockdown. I mean, how mad is that?
That's quite crazy.
I can't believe it. Me just being like, remember this.
Remember this.
Everything's happy. Everything's going great for me. January 2020. I couldn't believe it.
That's quite funny. It's quite funny.
I think it belongs in a museum. It's mad. Or maybe I'm a psychic or something. Like...
That's not very good psychic power, is it?
No.
If you have a good feeling and that means something internationally terrible is about to happen.
Yeah, I didn't really give my prediction out to the world, did I?
No.
No, sorry guys. I can't really...
It's all your fault.
Stop it.
So, yeah, that's weird. I don't have any fun stories like that, because this notebook I started new for the podcast. I mean, actually, this notebook, I can tell a story about it, because I got it for, like, my 18th birthday. It's like an actual book that got the insides ripped out and replaced with a notebook.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is quite cool. It's like a pirate book. That was first. It's like printed in England. I was trying to see if there was like a publishing date, but it just says printed in England. It would have cost £1.60 to buy this book.
Wow. I
never had a purpose for it because I was always like, it needs to be something good, like because it's a nice fancy notebook. It needs to be something like, you know, fun. And then when we started making notes for this, I was like, perfect. But then I kind of realized like 3 pages in that it's definitely supposed to be like a sketchbook because all the pages are blank and the paper's quite thick. But I'm using it for my notes.
You're sketching out the intricacies of the island.
Sure. So,
shall we get into it then?
Yeah, let's discuss. This episode's really weird. I can't really pass out how I feel about it.
You can't really what now?
Pass out how I feel about it.
Can't really pass out. Oh my goodness, I think I'm about to faint. I'm going to pass out.
P-A-R-S-E.
Another incredible piece of accent work from me.
I don't... This episode is just not what you want it to be, personally, to me.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise you felt so strongly.
Because I think, like, at this point in time, with Kate's backstory, it's like, you want to know what she actually did to have people chasing her.
Yeah.
And then this episode is like, you're gonna find out, and then you don't, because she's already on the run. And so it's like, I'm kind of like, I come out of this episode being like, well, what was the point of all that? And I know it's like the plane and you find out who the man she loved was, but it's also like, I'm like, yeah, but what did she do? Like, I'm like, don't piss me off, you know?
Yeah, but I don't actually get pissed off with this episode. I quite like that. I think it's not like the wheelchair fake outs for Locke to me. You know, those ones annoy me. But
those are more annoying.
Yeah, this is like, I actually kind of like that we get the resolution of the man she loved, the man she killed, and it's not the reason that she's on the run.
No, I like that it's not the reason, but I also think, like, at this point in time, you just really desperately want to know what it is she did. And they keep it from you for such a long time.
They do. But do you expect anything less? It's interesting because, like, in previous episodes, she says, you know, that she killed Tom. We find out his name is Tom. But, you know, she didn't actually point the gun at him and pull the trigger.
Yeah, she didn't actually kill him.
So
but her actions sort of got him killed.
Yeah, it's not really murder, but she feels responsible for it. And she is. Let's put it out there.
Yeah, no,
she's absolutely responsible for his death. And wrecking his home. She comes in as a bit of a home wrecker, doesn't she?
She does. She very much does.
Yeah. The way he's like, it's not fair for you to come back. And I'm like, yeah, girl, read the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand why she's doing it, because she wants to see her mum before her mum passes away, but she can't, so she needs help. And she also probably still thinks about Tom a lot. And
yeah, she probably wants to see him, you know?
What could have been.
Clearly she's not got a lot, like, in, like, her life has no consistency, you know? Because she's always, like, going from place to place. So, like, the fact that she, you know, she goes home, that's, like, obviously she's going to go to the people that she remembers, you know, spending the most time with.
Ooh, you just said home and you reminded me. Could you quickly Google where Iowa is?
Is this to find out if they're Canadian?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've got a note that says Tom is so Canadian, and they said Iowa, and I was like, that's America, isn't it?
I thought Iowa was in America. But I thought she was Canadian. She says she's Canadian in the first episode, doesn't she? Or like when she's talking to the farmer guy, the Australian farmer. But then that could be a lie, couldn't it?
It's Midwest America.
Midwest America.
It's the face of the chef.
What?
You ever seen that picture?
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken or something, and it's like they colour in these states to look like a chef with a pan, and then that I assume is Kentucky, but it's like
okay.
So it's like, look, like that's the chef's hat, and that's the face, and that's the body and the legs and the foot, and then that's his pan, and that's what he's frying.
Okay, I can see it.
And now that's just always what I see whenever I look at a map of America. So Iowa is the face of
the chef.
The chef.
I can see that. It's like how Great Britain looks like a man riding a pig.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're facing each other. The chef and the man riding the pig are facing each other.
He's going to dinner. He's going to a barbecue.
Aww. That's quite nice. I'm going to imagine them as sort of star-crossed lovers.
Yeah.
Mm.
Any hoops?
You know how last week we went insane and we were like,
it's
because it's 7 p.m. and we've lost our minds.
It's 2:30 right now.
It's literally the middle of the afternoon. We're just like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah, we find out Kate, yeah, that's a plot hole to me, very much. Kate is
Canadian, but
she's also from Iowa.
Yeah. Unless it's just that Evangeline Lilly is Canadian, and so she has a bit of a Canadian accent.
I mean, yeah, but I also got intensely Canadian vibes from Tom.
Yeah.
I have a note that says Tom is so Canadian.
Yeah, do you mean his accent or just his energy?
His accent and his energy.
He's very polite, isn't he?
He's very nice.
Accommodating.
And he's very, like, yeah, and his accent is Canadian.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, we're not the best judges, gang.
But, like, she does say to the farmer...
I'm not going to attempt a Canadian accent, don't worry.
I'm not going to do that one.
That's not going to be in my accent work examples on this episode.
She does say to the farmer, she's the Australian farmer, that she's from Canada, though,
yeah,
right?
But that could be a lie, because she's...
It could be a lie.
Lying about everything, isn't she? Oh, I'm on my gap year, my name's Annie. She's just lie. She's just spewing lies.
I mean, it could be, but also, like, it could just be a plot hole.
It could be a plot hole.
Yeah, the first note I have about this episode is fuck off with this bit. So that kind of sets the tone.
You said that. You whispered that to yourself.
And then I wrote it down.
We were watching it. I don't know what
Next thing I've written down is hair dye that gets rid of a wig.
Yes, okay. That bit, I understand your criticism. She is obviously dyeing a wig. I don't know. Are they trying to imply that her natural hair colour isn't brown?
No, I think they're trying to imply that she bleached her hair to hide her identity, and now she's dyeing it back to brown.
Because it's so obviously her natural hair colour. Especially, like, not only is it clearly her natural hair, but also when she's on the island it would be growing out, wouldn't it?
If her hair was really blonde, it would have washed out by now. It's been like over a month.
Yeah. I know. Okay, how quickly your roots start to show.
Exactly.
Don't look too closely if you're watching on Instagram.
So, like, it's just its hair dye that gets rid of a wig. And then we have
weird.
the name Joan Hart that just makes me think of Melissa and Joey because that's her name. And then we have her crying in a car, and it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's just all the tone is very strange for that scene. I feel like I'm about to watch some kind of femme fatale movie. Which I guess is kind of Kate's life in a sense.
I mean, I guess I get where you're coming from.
I just
didn't feel so strongly as you clearly do.
I don't like it. I dislike the concept of hair dye that gets rid of a wig. I just don't like it.
That's fair enough. That bit weird.
Why is the wig budget so low on this show? I just like... It's like a multi-million-dollar show. Why can't they get good wigs?
It's a very good point. And it's supposed to be like a dramatic reveal that it's Kate.
And it's like...
I feel like I knew. I feel like I predicted. I mean, I guess we don't see the island. We start with a flashback, which I think is unusual. I'm not sure if we've had that before.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it wasn't like, oh my god, it's Kate.
Yeah, it was like, I think I didn't know, but also as soon as she came out of the shower, I was just like, oh yeah. I wasn't like, holy shit. I was just like, well, yeah.
It's like, do you know what? I actually thought about this earlier today. When I was putting my tie on, I was thinking about, you know why they call it a clip-on? Because they clip it on. And that's another one where they set it up like it's going to be a dramatic reveal. That's when Jack is putting the bow tie on his best man, and it's like, oh, Jack's the one getting married. And it's like,
no, it's not.
That's not as dramatic as you think it is.
Yeah.
Although, side note, we talked about how, is Jack still married? Surely that would have come up by now. If he is, we know that Kate will kiss a married man, so
maybe it's not so much of an issue.
Yeah, doesn't rule it out. In terms of the island
does
love
not.
triangle.
Yeah, I mean, the big reveal, the big gasp moment, so to speak, of this episode is when Tom gets the plane out of the time capsule, right?
Oh my god. First time watching this, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh, he's gonna die.
You just know.
And
you're
he's
like,
such
oh
a nice
God.
guy, as we were just saying.
And he's got a baby.
He's got a baby. And he's like a young family, and he's all happy with his wife and everything. And you're like, oh my god, he's gonna die.
And also that Kate's gonna kill him.
Yes, at that point,
when they're like best friends, and they're like...
And what's she done? Driven him out to a remote location.
With a shovel?
Yeah. I thought they were digging up a body.
Yeah.
The first time around.
First time.
It's like, do you think it's still there? And then they start digging underneath the tree. I'm like, oh my god, they're digging up a body.
Yeah. And I think it is quite nice in the way they set up this picture of what Kate's life was like before. Because, like, we assume as viewers, like, oh, everything in her life has been this insane and this intense. And then you get this little window of, like, yeah, when she was, like, 16, she just, like, had a boyfriend and they wanted to get married and, like, they made a time capsule and it was all cute. And you're like, oh, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say that she's younger than 16 in 1989.
Oh, I don't remember them mentioning the year.
Yeah. I wrote down the date, actually, because get this, gang. August 15th.
And August is 08?
Yeah. Boom. 1989. But yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, so she...
We don't know how old she is.
We don't know how old she is, but she's younger than... Ain't no fucking way she's supposed to be 24 if she's...
Hang on.
1989 is 15 years before the plane crash.
15?
So, like, yeah, someone one time, I don't remember where, someone tried to claim Kate's 24 in the first series. That would make her 9 years old when they're recording this cassette tape.
That's a bit extreme, isn't
It's
it?
a bit young. She's definitely not 9.
I would say she's probably
I would say,
secondary school.
they say, she says as soon as I get my license, and that's like 16 in America, isn't it? So she's probably like 14 or 15, I would say.
Yeah.
Because if it's like soon,
yeah,
as soon as I get my license, we're going to run away together.
Me being 9 years old, I can't wait to learn to drive.
And run away from home. Like, no.
Yeah, so let's talk about the tape. Because obviously it's super cute, right?
Yeah, it's really sweet.
And they're listening to it and they're both crying and it's like, oh, you know, you really get emotional watching this scene. I think it's interesting that even like as a little girl, we hear that Kate goes, I just want to run away.
Yeah, I've got written down, you always want to run away,
You
Casey.
always want to run away. And I like that this is kind of like, she's born to run. She is born to run. However, we also get her saying, so he goes, oh, you always want to run away, Casey. And she goes, you know why? Now that's interesting.
Yeah, because why is that?
Why?
Because also what we see from this episode is her mum appears to be scared of her.
Yeah. So when I first watched this, I was like, it's first of all very confusing, but I kind of assumed that the reason that her mum shouts like help, help and gets scared and stuff is either because A, she's on the verge of death, so she doesn't really recognise Kate or what's happening, or B, because she's scared of Kate because she's a wanted criminal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So she's done something.
So what she's done must be extreme enough that her own mother is now scared of her.
Yeah. But now that I've heard the you know why, I'm like, is it because she had a really bad relationship with her mum?
Yeah.
You know, and that's why she wanted to run away. Something clearly wasn't, you know, she wasn't part of like a happy home, it seems.
No.
She probably has daddy issues because she's on the daddy issues show.
It's the island.
Yeah.
Yeah. But something I did think that was quite sweet, actually, about the moment where her mum wakes up, is she says, like, it's me, it's Kate. And I'm like, that must be the first time she said her own name out loud for, like, ages.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up Kate's names, actually, as well, because I think it was really nice detail that they added in that Tom calls her Katie instead of Kate, and her mum calls her Catherine.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, I like it.
I like it because it's like she's got lots of different identities, even as herself, when she's being authentically herself.
Even as someone, it's very much, it's born to run. It's like this identity was almost always set up for her. Because even in her very early life, we have people call her by different names and she wants to run away and like things are not stable. Yeah. So like, it's like deep rooted.
Yeah, I just like the variations on the names. I think it's a really fun detail. And also, I mean, I feel like we talked about this, but maybe we need to properly address it. How impactful and important it is for Kate when she first crashes on the island and Jack's there and he's asking her to stitch him up and she tells him that her name is Kate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Again, it's like, is this when did she last tell the truth about what her name was?
Yeah.
You know?
And like what, I would be so interested to know what the decision was in her head to tell the truth.
Because clearly I think she's regretting it now, right? Because she's thinking, she wants to steal Joanna's identity.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how she's going to plan to escape being imprisoned when they get rescued. Mm-hmm. But if she is on the island, everyone's getting rescued together. She's like, my name's Joanna. Someone else is going to go, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You're Kate.
People are going to refer to her as Kate.
You're Kate Austen, the wanted criminal. You know?
Yeah, and like the only reason she's been able to, like, because she is on the island and the marshal is dead, she's been able to just sort of keep it under wraps, but obviously it all finally comes out.
Everyone gets a new life here, you know?
Yeah.
Is that why she tells the truth? Because she's trying to start again? Maybe, but it's also like, I don't know, that's the first day. Do you know what I mean? It's the first day.
It's not like
feels...
no one's coming to get us. We have to start anew. Like, it's very much...
Yeah. It's
literally like 20 minutes ago this plane crashed.
So I don't know. I don't know what her thought process is there. Maybe it's just, oh my God, I'm alive. You know what I mean? I've been in a plane crash and I'm alive. I don't have time to think about what I need to lie about right now. There's a man with a gash in his back that I need to sort out first, you know. But it's interesting.
It's really interesting to me, and Kate's names is something that I'm very fascinated by, because obviously, like, we already know that names are significant to the show, because we have, like, John Locke, and we've had the whole, like, Adam and Eve thing with the bodies they found in the caves and stuff, and it's like...
Oh my gosh, yes, let's bring this up as well, actually. Now that the baby's been born...
Oh, yes.
I remember Mum saying to me... in between, like, around about this episode, this kind of time, she was like, so what do you think the baby's name's gonna be? Kind of like hinting. And I was like, oh, I know. I bet she's gonna call the baby Adam, because it's like he's the first man, you know, he's born on the island. The island is this kind of like, you know, weird place that's out of normal life and society. Is it starting again? Is he the, you know, we all get a new life on this island. Is he the first guy? We're starting again from the start of humanity, you know?
Yeah.
And you have all these theories about, like, the religious imagery and stuff, you know, with Charlie and that. We've had the Virgin Mary statues.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had the Virgin Mary statues.
Full of heroin.
I forget what.
And that's like a temptation of Charlie because of he's a Catholic and he's just given up heroin.
So there's lots of like religious stuff related to the island as well, Christian stuff. And so I was like, the baby's going to be called Adam. I'm just going to leave that there now.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a couple
We'll come back
episodes.
to that thought, but just, this is where I was when we were first watching it. Mum was hinting these things to me, and I was thinking, the baby's going to be called Adam.
Yeah, but yeah, like, the name significance obviously is something, and, like, Kate's surname is Austen, which, like, could that be a reference to something? Jane Austen? That's on the Wikipedia page.
Is it?
It might be a reference to Jane Austen.
She doesn't really...
she doesn't really have Austen vibes.
Have much of an...
sort of Regency lady energy. But, like, could be. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say Steve Austin.
Could be Steve Austin.
Broken Skull Challenge.
That's more her vibes.
Yeah.
Kate could fuck up the Broken Skull Challenge.
Oh my god. She'd demolish
be so
it.
good.
Yeah. Heartbreak Hill. The military grade cargo netting. The Skullbuster.
The Lightning Rod. I kind of miss that show. It was good.
It was good. This was like a classic sort of Sunday morning.
It was like shit TV that's on in the middle of the day when nothing's going on.
I'll say this, you know, as grateful as I am for streaming services, and that could be any amount of grateful, by the way, you know.
With all due gratitude.
Which is none. No, I am grateful for the convenience that we have in the modern day, but it's kind of killed that just watching whatever's on.
Yeah, no one watches crap TV anymore.
No.
Like, what happened to, like, Say Yes to the Dress?
Yeah.
And,
endless episodes of Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune and Supermarket Sweep.
You know, when I finished secondary school, I had this really long summer, right, after GCSEs were finished. You were still at school, Mum and Dad were still at work, and despite the fact that it was, you know, gorgeous sunshine outside, and I could have just gone out and met up with my friends and enjoyed my... no, I was enjoying my life. Because what I would do, my daily routine, wake up at, like, midday, go downstairs, watch about 10 episodes of Wheel of Fortune in my pyjamas, lunch, get dressed, maybe, and then play Lara Croft for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and I remember I would obviously get home from school about 3:30, and then we'd, like, do the evening, and then we'd all go to bed, and Ariel would stay up downstairs and turn on the PlayStation and play Lara Croft until, like, 2 in the morning, and then go to bed.
Dream existence, honestly.
And then I didn't get that. I remember I was like, oh, I'll get my nice long summer, and then it didn't really feel like it was...
Was it residual COVID?
It was, but by the end of year 11, there weren't really any restrictions anymore.
Why did you not feel like that then?
I don't know, just didn't.
Where was I?
You just finished college.
Just finished
so
college.
I think you had longer than me.
I also had a really long summer, that's why.
You had even longer than I did. My college summer, now that was peak. My college second year to beginning of uni was like best summer ever. So I guess I got it eventually.
Yeah. And you're going to get the nice, you know, when you graduate, I'm going to be fuck knows where. Slogging away at my
office
job.
9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you've not done a great job of getting a 9 to 5
right.
so far.
Okay. Not necessary. Just because I'm in my interview outfit today. This is why I don't get work. So Kate.
Yeah, so well, it's funny you bring up the baby.
Yeah.
Because I actually think that little plot line with Charlie and baby is so cute.
Yeah, the
'Cause,
haircut scene.
It's so sweet because also we start out with Charlie and Kate, and it kind of prompts. So really, in a sense, Charlie kind of sets off the whole plot of the episode.
Yeah,
with his platinum record stuff.
Yeah, he's in a really good mood this episode, and I like.
He's
that
doing
for
well.
him.
I think
doing better.
he's obviously, you know, Claire's back and happy, and baby is alive, and so he's like not so worried about them getting kidnapped anymore.
Yeah.
And he seems to be, and the boat's leaving and he's like, we're going to get rescued.
Yeah.
I think it's what we need. It's been like depressing episode after depressing episode.
Yes, it has. So
we need a bit of joy.
Charlie's positivity to come in. And yeah, it's when he goes, what, you don't want to be famous? That we kind of go, ooh, this is why it's a Kate episode. Do you know what I mean?
Don't you want to be famous?
That's the last thing she wants.
Yeah. And I love the little haircut episode scene is so cute.
Yes. I love that scene.
Because it's just like a bit of casual sort of domesticity, you know?
Yeah.
Cutting his hair. I was noticing a few episodes ago, actually, like I brought up in like episode 1 that Charlie's kind of rocking a mullet. And I was like, he was ahead of the curve, you know, because that's like how everyone has their hair now. But I noticed his like where it was shaved at the beginning is now like all grown out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's quite fun. Yeah. And here we go, you know, he's getting a haircut.
Yeah, very rock and roll haircut. You know,
yeah.
I think Claire has a secret rock and roll streak, personally. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's just a really nice kind of like, I'm gonna go ahead and say tableau. Yeah. So feel free to take the piss out of me, but I just think it's a nice image.
The mise en scène, as you would say.
The mise en scène, yes. The televisography. He's playing the guitar and like, you know, Claire's behind him.
And the cradle's like on the floor. It's framed really nicely.
It's framed really nicely, and I feel like that clip is used in a few banging edits.
Oh yeah. And I just think I think about Monster the pilot all the time. Can I just say? I want to hear that song so bad.
Oh yeah.
I wish we could have got the Drive Shaft Platinum record released. Don Monahan, if you can hear me, please.
Release the Monster Eats the Pilot.
Because also, something fun that I kind of noted down, and maybe there's no significance to... So I just hit the microphone really hard if there was a noise, that was why. Maybe there's no significance to this, but I kind of noticed it and I was like, oh, that's fun. Is that you hear a lot of Charlie's guitar playing, like in between scenes and stuff in this episode. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, Hurley's CD player broke. And now our source of music is Charlie and his guitar. And I was like, that's quite fun.
That's nice.
As like a little through line thing of like, because you heard it like in between two scenes at one point. And I was like, oh, this is a bit of a weird transition music. And then I was like, oh, it's just Charlie playing. I thought that was quite fun.
Yeah.
And I love Charlie's kind of like, you can hang out with me if you want. You can, we could.
I know.
When we go back to LA, do you want to maybe like hang out? Brackets, I birthed your baby a few days ago. Would you be interested in hanging out with me?
Oh my gosh, I know. It's like
so cute.
He U-hauled and then he's had to go back, basically, is what's happened.
I know, he's been like, I'm ready to be the father to this baby. And now he's like, okay, we're going to be going back to the real world. Do you want to maybe like get coffee? Yeah.
And I know occasionally I've been a Charlie Claire hater in the past. Well, not hater. Maybe a hater. Skeptic. Yes. I've been a Charlie Claire skeptic, but I do like this scene. And I like this episode for the two of them. It as you say, it's normal. It's cute.
It's normal and it's cute, and I think they both really need that.
Yes. It's not what we've had in the past, which is like, I'm going to protect you by shooting a man 6 times in the chest. Mm-hmm. You know. Anyway. Speaking of Hurley, he's in his contractually obliged one scene this episode.
Yeah, being genre-aware as per.
As per. I do really like this bit.
I love the way it's like, he's standing in the background, and I remember I noticed him in the background, because I've noticed there's a lot of extras fucking around in this episode. Like, if you look, any of the scenes remotely near the boat, there's always like 3 men you've never seen in your life who are like tying things to the boat. And I'm like, they really put the extras through their paces this episode.
Yeah.
They're getting them in on everything.
But also, like, why is everybody helping build the raft when it's like only 4 people can get on it?
I think it's because it's got to leave tomorrow. So it's like all hands on deck to finish it.
All hands
on deck, literally, to finish it. But yeah, and I was like, oh, and Hurley's there. But I was like, oh, they've thrown in like some of the actual characters. But then it's like he's getting interrogated about the water.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of fun because, like, we saw when Hurley was kind of trying to do his census that he was taking on that bit more of a kind of detective role.
Yeah.
You know, when he's trying to figure out, like, you know, who the hell is Scott and Steve and everything. Whereas in this time it's John who's kind of being the detective.
Yeah.
And then we get a little cheeky reference to Scott, which I enjoyed.
Scott didn't even know about the polar bear.
Scott didn't even know about the polar bear.
Also, does John know about the polar bear?
Presumably.
He didn't react to that, but he wasn't there. Well, John and Jack weren't there when the polar bear got shot.
No. But I reckon it's like...
Also, Hurley wasn't, to be fair, was he?
No, he wasn't. So there you go.
So clearly they've all discussed it.
Yeah. But I like that as well because to me, like, that line could have almost been improvised.
Yeah.
Because I think it's not an accident that he refers to Scott. Do you know what I mean? It's like... You know, if he'd gone, Claire didn't even know about the polar bear, someone could go, actually, Claire does know about the polar bear. But we know nothing about Scott, so of course Scott didn't know about the polar bear. He's an irrelevant. Speaking of irrelevance... Yeah,
we have a new speaking character. Speaking of putting the actors through their paces, one of them started talking today.
Can you believe it? We just get a new character out of nowhere.
Dr. Arts.
Dr. Arts.
What a legend. I love that his introduction is him calling them all stupid.
Yeah. This is what I wrote down. I wrote down Arts! ! Very angry. Why has he got that ascot? And who is he? And why has he been doing island science?
Why has he got that ascot? And who is he?
And who is he?
First port of call. Ascot.
Ascot, question mark.
Also, who are you?
That's how I interact with any given person. Criticize their fashion sense, and then it's like, sorry, what's your name?
And you claim that you're not judgy to me.
Sorry, I realised that's a bit, I was just trying to riff, but I realised it's a bit close to home given our conversation before we started.
Right before we started recording, I came downstairs in this shirt and Ariel went, what the fuck are you wearing? And then tried to claim that she's not judgy and is nice to me about my clothes.
I don't think I said, what the fuck are you wearing?
You said, what's this shirt?
I don't recognise it.
I've owned this shirt since I was like 17.
Have you?
Yeah, I got it at the Big Bernardo's in Monk's Cross. I wore it to the Barbie movie.
I didn't go see the Barbie movie with you.
Yeah, but I put the pictures all over Instagram.
So, yeah, it seems like Arts is kind of just a plot device to let us all know.
Yeah, it's like they had to... Obviously, I think someone in the writer's room, they were like, we've got to set the raft off soon. And then they went, how can we add some tension? So like a time constraint. And then they went, yeah, but none of them would know that. They like figured out this science and then they went, none of them would know that.
But
so they've written in a high school teacher to come and teach them.
The thing is, why should we... Sawyer's got a point, which I hate to say. Why should we, like, trust his judgment? Do you know what I mean? He's just, like, a high school teacher. How does he know all this stuff? You know? Second of all, I would not faze me at all for them to suddenly go, by the way, Saeed knows all of this.
Yeah, this is my thing. My policy, anytime they introduce a character who, like, has a skill, because this happens a few times, they, like, introduce a character just because clearly they need someone to fulfill a skill. And I'm always like, Saeed could have done that.
Yeah.
Because Saeed knows everything.
Yeah, he does.
And, like, he's the one who just explains all the sciencey crap that none of the viewers understand.
He made his own compass. He could know what the tides and the shipping lanes and stuff are doing.
Yeah. So I'm just like, Saeed could have... You know that, like, this could have been an email? I'm like, Saeed could have known that.
Yeah. Literally.
We didn't need to introduce a new character. Saeed could have known that.
Honestly, Saeed could have done that is basically just the show in a nutshell.
If Saeed had done everything, they'd be off the island by now.
If Saeed was the only survivor of the crash, he'd be thriving.
He'd be having a great, him and Danielle.
Yeah.
Together.
He'd be just exploring the island, surviving, trying to get off, trying to triangulate the signal. Then solitary would happen. He'd get kidnapped by Danielle still. But then they would just vibe it out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
She'd be like, I'm sure you want to get back to your camp. And he's like, well, there's no other survivors. So I just stay here.
I'll just stay here,
and then they just hang out.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah. Where's our spin-off show? The Saeed
Lost
and
alternate
Marissa.
Universe where Saeed is the only survivor.
Fuck everyone else.
And none of that magic bullshit while we're here.
Yeah,
Saeed's like
he's
number
our
one skeptic.
No, because he's with Danielle, so Danielle would bring the magic. He'd be the man of science and she'd be the man of faith.
I love that.
That's it. That's what the show boils down to. They're the two best characters, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, so Arts is an interesting guy. I love that he's
very
just
angry
really mean to them all. He's like, are you stupid?
Yeah, that's basically his energy. He comes in just going, are you stupid?
And I mean, like, listen, if I had to teach 15-year-olds all day, every day, and science, I'd be pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
Because I've been in science classes in secondary schools. They're terrible. They're the worst place to be for anyone ever. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, I would immediately default to treating all adults like that. Like, because it's also the way he's like, it's like they become a classroom.
Yeah.
It's the way Jack's like, Antarctica.
Yeah. Well done, Jack. That is correct.
House
Antarctica. Point. Yeah, but I'm still hung up on the ascot. I'm sorry. Why does he have that?
He's jaunty. God forbid a man have a bit of whimsy in his life.
He's allowed to have whimsy, okay? It's just they're stranded on desert island. Everything is like a need.
You're telling me if you had been in that plane crash, you would be dressing practically.
Oh no, I would be serving, but that's irrelevant.
You know, Shannon's got her hoops.
It's just...
Find it interesting that you had a problem with Shannon's hoops and Art's ascot, and yet you are like number one accessorizer.
Yeah, but I'm not stranded on a desert island.
Yeah, but the thing is, you've got to find your small joys.
I suppose. That's what he's been doing. He's just been angrily storming around the island this entire time. And then he found the ascot and he was happy for a little bit and then he got angry again.
And then he noticed the shipping lanes had changed or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, I don't remember what he says, I can't lie.
It's something about the wind moving.
Yeah, monsoon season, because it's been raining so much.
Yeah, and then they'll get blown to Antarctica instead of north to the countries.
But the thing is, like, they say in, like, fucking episode 1 that the weather is weird on the island, right? Because it just starts pissing it down out of nowhere, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, so I don't know if he's noticed that or what, but like, can he even apply his regular science to the island?
I mean, we don't know.
What is this meteorology bullshit?
I don't know, but he's an interesting cat. I'm interested to see if we'll see him again.
Where's his flashback episode?
What's his backstory? I want to see him in the school.
Everyone knows that Son can speak English now. No one knows about John still, apart from R.I.P. Boone. But the writers are kind of going, we need everything out in the open.
Yeah.
You know, everyone kind of needs to know. So I think this is a really good way of doing that because, yeah, we kind of get... I wrote down criminal to criminal communication.
Yeah, very much. Like the way he's like, I figured it all out.
And I think that is actually quite genius because the two of them, they're on a different level, right? They're operating on criminal to criminal communication because they're going, like, if I want your spot, I'm going to get your spot. I'm going to play dirty, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do crimes, not together, separately. We're going to do crimes separately, fighting for the thing. But when Sawyer backs her into the corner and makes her reveal it all to everyone in the group, that's when it changes. Because it's like all these normal people suddenly find out that she's a criminal.
Yeah.
And we see Michael getting a bit scared of her, don't we?
Yeah.
She takes a step towards him and goes, I didn't poison you, and he steps back. It's just a little subtle thing, but it means a lot. And I think that's why Kate gets so upset by the end of the episode. Because it's not about, you know, she's not going to get on the raft or whatever. It's like, you have changed how everyone else sees me.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. She wanted a new life on the island, you know, not have this criminal...
She wanted her blank slate.
Yeah.
That's like, she was the one.
Blank slate's her episode,
that.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sawyer took that away from her.
It's the way he's like, don't worry, your secret's safe with me, and then 2 scenes later is like, tell everyone! And I'm like, Sawyer, I know you've got no principles, but Jesus.
That's actually so funny, I didn't even consider that. Yeah. And how does Sawyer know that she's a criminal? Or has he just figured it out?
I think he's just figured it out. He said, like, obviously they were fighting over the case, and then he found out the case belonged to the marshal, and then it's that, like, she suddenly wants to be on the raft and is like, I think he sees her with the passport. And so I think then he just puts it together.
Yeah.
And also that she, like, you know, they have criminal communication. I think, like,
they recognize each other. Criminal recognizes criminal.
Game recognizes game, you know. Like, she knows all of his tricks, and so he must be like, well, she must have learned that somewhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it is just genuine deduction on Sawyer's part.
Yeah.
You know? Which is quite interesting.
Yeah. But also, like, he seems like he's very confident in this, and also he seems like he's known for quite a while, but he's not said anything.
Yeah, because he's waiting for the opportune time.
To use it, yeah.
When is he going to be able to use it? Yeah, to his advantage. Absolutely. He's scheming. He is scheming.
He's scheming.
And I think he's actually really scary in that first scene when he, like, grabs hold of her arm. I was actually like, oh, this is he's quite scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's well acted. But then that's when we also get her going, if I want your spot, I'm going to take your spot.
Yeah.
You know, she rises to it.
She doesn't back down to him. And I think, often Sawyer is trying to intimidate everyone else out of, like, into getting what he wants. But she never, like, shrinks away from him. Mm-hmm. She headbutts him.
Mm-hmm. Famously.
Do you think they're trying to parallel Sawyer and Tom at all? Because there was this interesting thing drawn in. There was this interesting thing drawn in right at the end about Sun and Jin and Kate and Tom.
Yes.
Right? And I've been thinking about that, and then I'm like, often they try to sort of parallel what's going on. And then I was thinking, like, from like a... But I don't think so. I agree with you. I don't think they're trying to put, like, sort of pit Tom and Sawyer against each other, because they've served very different roles in the narrative.
If anything, now that you've said that, I'm like, surely Tom is a parallel to Jack, because he's a doctor.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, they're both doctors.
They're both doctors, and he's like the sort of, he's got the kind of happy small town life, hasn't he, you know? He's got the wife and kids.
He's got the kind of, come on Kate, do the right thing.
Yeah. Sign here and you'll be an English major. I feel like we've said this before and phrased it in a funnier way, so I'm going to try and remember. The thing about the love triangle with Kate, Jack and Sawyer is, like, it's kind of the stereotypical, like, the girl has to choose between, like, the nice guy and the bad boy. But the thing is, she's also really fucked up.
Yeah.
And the nice guy is also really fucked up. And the bad boy is also really fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, I find that entertaining. It kind of, like, uses the stereotype, but it's also like, this isn't a sitcom, it's a fucking insane mystery show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, the only reason I bring it up is because, like, Sawyer and Kate had some kind of third act breakup at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
They had, like, that was like, if it was a rom-com, that's the, like, they break up and then by the end of the book they've found each other again.
Yes.
Like that, like, be safe, Sawyer, or whatever. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Very weird.
And also, like, why... He goes over to her because he feels guilty, but then she's like, are you here to say sorry? And he says, sorry doesn't look right on me, or some smug bullshit.
Yeah, they're both just trying to sort of... It's like a wanker off they're having. They're both being like, well, I'm going to be the aloof one. I'm going to be the aloof one.
And so nothing really gets said.
Nothing
really comes of the scene. They kind of just go, Okay then. Oh god, it's giving, I didn't come here to ask for your permission.
Yeah.
I didn't come here to say sorry, even though I obviously came here to say sorry.
It's like, that post about like dogs will be really obvious about the fact they're obsessed with you, but cats will act like it's a coincidence that you're in the same room 90% of the time. It's very much like they're like, well, I'm sitting next to you and I'm talking to you about the thing that happened this episode, but like not because I care at all. And I'm not going to apologize, even though I'm clearly guilty about it. Like, can we like grow up, please? Pair of them.
Because they're schemers. They're scheming.
I know they're schemers. Can't see. But yeah, so the Kate, Tom, Sun, Jin parallel also was interesting to me because Kate is the Jin in this situation.
Ooh. Why'd you say that?
Well, because it's like the nice one. like Tom has this nice, perfect life, and then Kate is the one who like ruins and disrupts it. And it's like Sun and Jin had like the nice domestic life, and then Jin's job completely fucked him up, and then now he's ruined their like relationship.
Yeah, I didn't read into it like that. I mean,
on the surface, obviously it's just when I found the man that I loved, I thought my life would be great forever.
Yeah,
that obviously is like about both the situations.
Yeah, because I was thinking about like, the tape and stuff, and how they go, well, in 20 years we're going to be married and have 9 kids or whatever, and it's like, that's when she was younger, this is what she thought would be like the perfect life. But then it's also not what Kate thought would be the perfect life.
Yeah, because even then she didn't
want it. She wanted to just be on the run.
Just run away.
Yeah.
She was very focused on the immediate future. Like, he's like, oh yeah, in 20 years we'll still be together and everything will be great. And she's like, no, well in 2 years when I get a car, we're going to run away, right?
But yeah, I think it's interesting to kind of be like, that perfect life doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's kind of moral of the story, I think, of all the relationships in the show.
Yeah, actually. Not even just the romantic ones, the father-son ones.
All the relationships that happen, the friendships, all of it. Everything. It's just like, there is no such thing as that perfect. I think it's really fun how all the plot lines are so intertwined in this episode. Because you've got, like, Charlie goes to Kate and talks about getting famous, and that means Kate wants to get off the raft, which means she then like argues with Sawyer, but then that links in with Sun and Jin and Michael, and like everything's very intertwined.
Yeah,
I think it's really nice.
Agreed. And yeah, let's talk about how Sun tried to poison her own husband.
Yeah, so I need to tell you this. I have for this episode I have like a page and a half of notes, right? And 4th up from the bottom, I have written down here, I just remembered who did the poisoning. Fuck. We were watching that scene with Walt and John, and I went, oh my god, it wasn't Walt. Oh my god, I remember who it was. I was so convinced. I was like, yeah, it was Walt.
Yeah.
Because he tells him at the end of this episode. I was like, yeah, it was him. And then I went, oh my god, no, I remember now.
No, because how would Walt do that? Unless it was just his psychic powers just did it.
Yeah.
Tummy ache. I cast tummy ache.
I cast tummy ache is exactly the kind of thing a 10-year-old would do.
Yeah. Absolutely, actually. I'm going to put something in Jin's water. What we don't know.
Well, presumably something from her garden. I think that's how Jack figures it out. Is he kind of figures out what she put in it, and then he went, oh shit, she grew it in the garden.
Enough to give him food poisoning, or just make him ill,
sick.
So that he doesn't go on the raft.
Yeah.
2 flaws in this. 1, Michael gets well enough to go on the raft still. So Jin wouldn't have been out of commission for long enough to not go on the raft. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 2, it was Kate's idea, ?
Yeah, so I think what it was is Sun and Kate had a conversation, and Sun was like,
they were having a girls' dinner.
They were having a girls' chat, and Sun was like, I don't want him to leave, and then Kate was like, well, if you make him sick or whatever. I don't know if she just like vaguely planted the idea in her head, or if she was like, this is exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
But like then obviously if Jin can't go on the raft, then Kate's like, I'll go on the raft.
Right, so they'd planned this from the start.
So Kate, obviously she's had this thing with Sawyer, and then she's gone, well, he's not going to give up his spot, or Michael doesn't want him want to back down. So it's like, she's kind of playing on, she's like, if I can get one of them taken off the raft, I think. And then, so Sun then wins because she gets Jin to stay, which is what she wants, but also then Kate can take his spot on the raft.
I never even thought about it from that perspective. I was like, well, Kate's just going to help out Sun because she's a girl's girl.
No, I also because she's a girl's girl, but also I think Kate's been a bit like, leave his ass the whole time, hasn't she? So she'd probably be like, no, he's going to go and then you're going to be fine. But as soon as she's like, well, I want to be on the raft too, so I'm going to poison him.
She's a schemer.
She is scheming. And it's like, also it is like it's a win-win situation for them if it works. So obviously it's a good plan on Kate's part.
And so she's just kind of improvising when it's actually Michael who ends up getting ill.
Yeah.
And she tries to...
Then she's like, well, if I pin it on Sawyer, Michael will... She's like, it's like, she's like, well, Jin's now not going to get taken off the raft. So she goes back to trying to put pressure on Sawyer.
Michael just loves to falsely accuse people, doesn't he?
I love Michael.
Oh, just like the way that he like immediately assumes Jin was the one who burnt the raft. Incorrect. But he's shouting about it so loudly. And then this episode, it's like, Sawyer. I know it was Sawyer.
You did this to me.
100%. And I'm going to be loud and bitch and moan about it and have a go at him in front of everybody.
He's so funny. I love Michael so much. It's the way he's just so... He loves to hold grudge. Yeah. He loves to be a bitch. I love it. It's like when he's talking to Jack and he's like, are you guys friends again? About John? And Jack's like, no. And he goes, good. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Michael. Good.
I did
him.
Enjoy that. I did enjoy that. And I actually really... I think the final scene between Michael and Walt in this episode is acted so brilliantly by both of them. They are both such good actors. And I love that scene. I only bring it up now because you're talking about him being bitchy. I think it's really well done in that he is a bit pissed off at Walt. But he's not going to have a go at him.
He's clearly trying really hard to see it from Walt's perspective, you know? Yeah.
He wants to build a good relationship with his son, but he's not had the parenting experience. And he's a bit petty as a person.
He's a bit of a bitch. So when's my birthday?
Like, yeah. And so he's like... He wants to yell at Walt or he's annoyed at Walt for burning the raft, but he's not going to yell at him and tell him off in like a fathery way, because clearly Walt had a good reason for doing that. And so he's like, it's okay, we can stay here, even though he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Of course he doesn't. He's been very vocal about this. And then, oh my God, that kid, he's so good. When he turns back and he goes...
We don't have to go. Yes, we do.
Oh, it's so good.
And this is
I'm licking my fingers and it's delicious.
It's the delightful return of Walt's psychic powers this episode.
Oh yeah.
Like,
excellent. Truly excellent.
Because also, don't open it. Can we talk about that scene?
Yes.
I love that scene. I have many things to say about that scene. First of all, I find it really interesting that Walt sought out John when last episode we had this moment where... Was it last episode? Yeah, where Walt seemed really scared of John. And he was really upset about Boone dying and he was suddenly like really worried. Yeah. But he felt like he had to go to John and be like clear his name and say I didn't do it. I think that's really interesting from the psychology of Walt. I also think John's desire to sort of still engage with him is really interesting. That he's not like, well, my mentorship already got one guy killed. He's like, no, Walt's magical or whatever. But also, like, when he's patching up his leg and Walt says, does it hurt? And he goes, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And he's so happy.
Too. Yeah, absolutely.
John's got his feeling back in his legs. Very important. The island has given him his walking back.
Yes. How did he injure his leg?
I think it's the trebuchet.
Oh, it's still that, is it?
Yeah, well, because that was only actually a couple days ago.
Yeah, that's a very good
Because they did the trebuchet, and then he had the weird dream, and then Boone got in the crash, and then all of that and Do No Harm happened in the same day. And then Greater Good was only, like, one day.
Yeah, after, yeah.
So it's only been, like, 3 days since he did that.
He has still got, like, a massive wound in his leg.
And the gunshot on his head, I thought that's very cool.
He's been absolutely beaten and bloody.
He's been through it.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that he's like, yeah.
And then, like, when John reaches out and touches Walt, and I was already like, that's a bit weird. I was like, don't go near him. And then when Walt backs away, I'm like, oh, it's because he's scared of John. And then it's just that, don't open it. Don't open that thing.
Oh, it's so good. And so often you see, like, kids being the creepy ones in, like, horror movies and stuff.
Creepy possessed kid, yeah.
And I think this is a great example of that because Walt has his own character. Yeah. You know, and the scene starts off with that.
He's not just like, creepy and weird.
Look, I didn't poison my dad, and I don't want you to think that. Like, that he's got this genuine, do you know what I mean? Motivation and, like, personality. And, you know, Locke goes, we're friends, which I like as well. You know, we talked about the possibly the oldest and the youngest character on the island, and they're friends, and that is nice. But then is when it turns. And it's like,
it's when he touches him and then suddenly he gets this connection.
Yeah. I mean, what does that mean? Why does Locke touching his arm mean that he suddenly can see the future? Question mark? I don't know. Or he just gets this energy.
He knows what's happening to John. Yes. Does he know about the hatch? Or does he just get does he just think don't open it and then have to say that? Like, does he know what he's talking about?
I don't know.
Because we don't know if Walt is aware that he has this, like, psychic power, really. Or if it's more just, like, something that happens.
Did he just get this energy from John? Because obviously that's all John can think about is hatch, 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 how do we open it? So did he just get this? Or is it a bit like, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the psychic that saw about Claire's baby.
Yeah.
And we had a whole discussion about how much could he see. Do you know what I mean? Could he see...
Did he know the plane was going to crash? Did he know about the island? Or did he just get a bad feeling?
Did he know that she was going to get, like, kidnapped on the island, for example? Did he know that she was going to give birth safely on the island? Like, all of this stuff. Or did he just know that she was going to get in a plane? We don't know. And I think it's important that we're not told, even though it's annoying. But it kind of reminded me of that. Like, what is he seeing? Is he seeing them opening the hatch and it going badly? Or is he just getting an idea of something negative surrounding it? Or what? Do you know what I mean? Maybe the hatch opens and then something happens that Locke would interpret as good, but Walt would interpret as bad. It's bad for Walt for some reason.
Is this something to do with why he has to leave the island? Yeah. Is it that they have to go because they're going to open the hatch?
And there's going to be something scary inside.
And then we have our beautiful, once again, interconnections of the plot lines, because then we can go back to Saeed and Jack and John looking at the hatch.
Yes.
I love that bit so much. First of all, why is there a big dramatic music build-up when Jack's coming through the trees? We know it's the hatch. We know what he's showing him.
I know, but I did really appreciate the kind of, like, full aerial shot of the hatch that we got.
That was nice, but I was like, it's not like a bum 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 moment. We know exactly what John is showing him.
Yes. Although I guess we're intrigued by the fact that John has started to spill his secrets a bit.
Because Saeed forced him to.
Yes, I know. But it's still interesting.
I mean, yes.
As a viewer.
But, like, that whole conversation, the fact that it's, like, between John and Jack, like, sniping each other, and then Saeed's just kind of side-eyeing them, and then he doesn't get involved until Jack's like, we should open it.
Bombastic side-eye
it's the, like,
from Saeed Jarrah is so fucking good. I love it. He's got popcorn. He's watching the tea unfold.
He's like, I bet he was like, we have to tell Jack first just because he's like, this is going to be fun. You know that, like, it sounds like a mess, I can't wait to see it.
I was literally just about to say that.
He's like, I cannot wait.
Yeah. So brilliant. And then I love... This is also Saeed's only scene in this episode, I think, right?
One of few.
He absolutely steals the show for me this week.
Yeah.
I love how he went, what?
What?
What? I wrote down W-O-T. What? The Cockney's coming out.
It's genuinely, it's his accent jumps out a little bit.
Are you having a laugh?
And it's the, like, I brought you here to convince him not to do it.
Talk him out of this madness.
And that's, like, I love that's when he gets involved. Like, he just kind of sits back and lets them argue with each other. And then he's like, what? No. What? That's not what you're supposed to... This is stupid. Yeah. And the way he's just like, there's no handle. Clearly it's not supposed to be opened. Are you stupid? I think Saeed and Arts should queen out.
He's actually so great.
He's so funny.
What?
And then he's vaguely, I think he's the one talking to, is he the one talking to Hurley about, no, that's John. He's barely in this episode. Because then it's just when Kate shows up and is like, something happened to Michael, and then they all start jogging. I don't know why that made me laugh so much when we watched it this morning, but she's like, something happened to Michael, come on. And then like Jack kind of nods and like starts following her, and then it's just like they kind of, there's like a pause, and then John and Saeed both just sort of start jogging after them.
Probably because they were going, are we in shot? I don't know. Yeah. Let's just start running.
They were probably going, they didn't tell us. But we would follow them, right? Like, I feel like there's a moment where they just went, well, yeah, we would. We wouldn't just stand here.
Yeah. And obviously everyone kind of has to be there for the case of criminal reveal.
Yeah. Random shot Shannon. Shannon doesn't have any lines in this episode. She just she kind of sneaks in the background when Sawyer and Kate are yelling at each other, because they did notice her, because obviously she's always wearing pink, so she kind of stands out. And there's just one random shot of her, and she still looks really haggard and like upset. And I'm like, Shannon, what are you doing here? Go lay down. And she's like,
yeah.
And then it's just like Charlie and Claire are there.
Yeah.
It's all very weird.
But also interesting how Kate plays that scene, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because so Sawyer forces it all out of her, you know, he physically grabs her, he takes her backpack and empties it on the floor, very much reminding me of whatever the case may be, with all of that kind of slapstick, goofy, snatching the case off each other and stuff. Like, they have this kind of like running around each other thing that happens for some reason.
Yeah,
and then he gets the passport out and he goes, do you remember Joanna, the girl who drowned? That, I think, is really important because A, we might have forgotten about Joanna at this point as viewers, so it's important to remind us who she was. And B, to bring in the fact that Kate is attempting to steal the identity of a dead woman very much puts everyone against her.
Also, with that Saeed's speech at Boone's funeral, saying that on like the second day, Boone nearly drowned trying to save Joanna.
Oh my goodness, yes, she was brought up last week, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Of course we haven't forgotten her. And I definitely didn't forget that she was brought up.
And he was saying, like, Boone was a hero because he tried to save her, and now it's like, and Kate's trying to steal her identity.
Yeah.
Definitely that comparison is very... Maybe that's why Shannon's in the background of the scene. Maybe that's what she's thinking about.
Maybe. So I think that's a really good writing technique. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's against Kate. And then she kind of... She does a bit of Saeed giving that speech, and she speaks weirdly loudly.
Yeah.
She's like, yes! I was on the plane with the marshal. And I think she realizes she has to tell the truth. But she also throws in whatever I supposedly did.
Yeah.
Now, we've never had that before from Kate, have we?
No.
I was falsely accused narrative.
But interestingly, we've never had any...
could be true.
We've never had any admission of guilt. Because the only thing she said so far is it belonged to the man I killed.
Yes.
And now we know that that was Tom and that wasn't her initial crime.
Yes.
Or crime, whatever it was she supposedly did. Mm-hmm. And because we don't know, it's very much like, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, when she's with Jack and he's going like, why is the plane so important, blah, 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 she owns the guilt. Well, not owns it, but do you know what I mean? She says, I killed this man.
Yeah.
Doesn't she? She never tries to be like, I'm innocent.
I mean, she does say to Jack, doesn't she, in Tabula Rasa, she says, I want to tell you what I did.
Yes.
And he says, I don't need to know.
Yes.
So I guess that's a sort of... I don't think she was talking about Tom in that moment. I would assume she's talking about the reason why the marshal was chasing her. So there was that sort of an admission of guilt, isn't it, I guess? Isn't like...
But it keeps us guessing as viewers. Do you know what
I mean? We don't know. Because they won't tell us what it is.
Yes. And I also think it's a tactic from her perspective to make everyone still like her.
Because it's like she's appealing also to the fact that, like, they all know her.
Yes.
You know? She's been helpful to them. You know? She's been nice to Michael.
They've trusted her. Look at episode 2 when they say she should have the gun. Because they don't trust Sawyer with it. Do you know what I mean?
And I think she is, appealing to that sort of like,
absolutely.
Guys, come on, it's me.
Absolutely she is. And then that's when she says, I didn't poison you. She's trying to go like, it's me. I didn't poison you.
And I also think that's very much like I'm telling the truth now, but I didn't poison you. It very much is like, she didn't do it. Because if she's telling all the truth, she would say if she did. And she's telling the truth, she didn't. Mm-hmm. And it was her idea, but she didn't do it. She kind of
indirectly did it, but...
she didn't do it. The other thing I think is interesting about, like, the setup of Kate's home life and, like, her mum, and which we talked about, like, the crime she committed or didn't. Whatever it is, and I think Tom seems to know, doesn't he? Why she's run away.
He's certainly not surprised when she randomly shows up in the backseat of his car.
I mean, that's hilarious. Can we talk about that? Hi, Tom. I love one of those moments because it's always funny.
It is always funny.
It's always funny.
But yeah, he seems to be like, this is what I've come to expect from Kate.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the first time he's visited her. She's visited him even. Yeah. But
yes. And
he's
maybe
not
it's just
shocked.
Because she's from a small town in Iowa. And it's like, oh my God, she's on the national news. Have you seen her mugshots all over the TV?
Yeah.
Kate's on the run. Oh my God, that's Kate from school. You know?
Yeah.
Or if it's because he was a bit more involved in her life and knew what she did in order to get her on the run.
Yeah. But I think, you know, I know it's like to keep the mystery going. But also in that conversation in the car, she calls her mum Diane. Not mum.
Yeah, it's to keep the mystery going.
But it's also like, if you look at that internally, like, is she saying that because she has this terrible relationship with her mother?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know? Maybe, yeah. Is she doing it because she's like, Diane? Like, that's like a classic thing for like kids who like act out to do, isn't it? To like call their parents by their names. And I think, yeah, that's like a kind of...
Between Kate and Diane.
Yeah.
Because it's like... There's clearly so much going on and we get so little of it. Do you know what I mean? The dialogue is actually very... There's very little. And the two of them are just like... They are doing a great job in terms of acting, I think. Because we as viewers go, there's so much going on here. Yeah. And who knows if the actors themselves even knew.
No,
what the elaborate backstory.
Do the writers even know?
Does anyone know? We'll never find out. But yeah, I think their relationship, like, we get this tiny snippet of it and you're already like, I'm intrigued. I want to know more.
Yeah, like this, there's definitely something else going on.
There's definitely something else going on. Of course there is. Because why, when you see your daughter for the first time in fucking
and you're dying.
years, you want to dob her in, essentially. You're screaming to, you know, get her away from you. You're scared of her.
Yeah.
The way that she punches that security guard.
I was just thinking that. Not only she takes the radio and she smacks him around the head with the radio.
It's so great. So badass. Love it.
I love her. But this is like the awful thing as well, is that she tells Tom to get out of the car.
Oh, it's so bad. That scene is just like... Because she's using Tom. Of course she's using Tom. She's been using him from the moment she showed up at the hospital, right? She needs him... He's a means to an end for her. And she's like, I need your car keys, right? This is where it goes wrong for them. But she...
obviously still cares about him.
Yes, is there some kind of emotional manipulation going on here? I don't know. But Tom certainly can't let go of her, right? Even though he's happy with his wife and children, he's like, I can't just let you drive off.
Yeah, and it's like he wants to convince her to, like, cooperate.
Yes.
And it's very much like they live in different worlds.
They live in different worlds. She's the criminal. And he's the nice
He's the
guy.
good girl. He's the Sandy and she's the... what's the guy called? John Travolta.
Yeah.
Fucking... I don't know.
Danny.
Danny.
Yes. Yeah. So really, the stereotypical love triangle, really it's Tom, and he has to choose between the nice girl, his wife, and the bad boy, Kate. That's really what's going on here. And unfortunately he chooses Kate, and unfortunately that means he gets shot. But that scene is awful, isn't it?
It's so terrible because you know he's gonna die. Like, you as a viewer know he's gonna die.
As soon as he brings that plane out, I remember watching it the first time and I was like gagged. I was like, oh my God, He's about to die.
I think this is
He's
him.
going to die. And the sort of stray bullet kind of thing, you know, like it wasn't meant for him. But this is the thing, Kate can never form a close connection to anyone because they're just going to get hurt. You know, she has to
because
be
of who
by
she
herself
is.
the whole time. She's very, you know...
And even her mum.
Solitary. Yeah, her mum's gotten hurt and she goes, you know, I'm sorry about everything that I've put you through. We kind of get the implication that maybe the stress of Kate being on the run has
sort of
led her to an
been a
early
detriment
grave.
to her health. Yeah.
And it's like everyone just gets hurt and she only has a couple of seconds to process Tom's death. And again, I think it's acted brilliantly.
It's so brilliant
She's
that
like
she's
trying to almost undo his seatbelt or like touch him or something, and she's like, no, you're gonna be okay. But then she hears the siren, she's gotta go.
And she knows she has to go and she just has to get out of the car.
Question though, how does she end up with the plane?
It's in the safe deposit box.
Yeah, how does it get in there?
Oh no.
Because she leaves it. You notice this? She looks at the plane and then she gets out of the car without taking it.
Yeah, I would assume it was put in there by someone else and then she got access to it. She probably stole the key from, like, his wife or something.
Interesting. Because I always assumed she'd put it in the safety deposit box, changed her identity, moved to Mexico, and then got it again at a more convenient time.
No, I think because the whole reason she does the whole scheme is because she wants the plane.
Yeah.
So I think she probably found out that his, like, family had put it in a safe deposit box and was like, well, fuck them. That belonged to the Tom I knew or whatever.
Maybe.
And then she, like, broke into his house and stole the key.
I just had an idea and I knew I'd forget. Because last time we were recording and I thought of something and I was like, oh, I'll tell Velvet after. Immediately forgot. So I was like, I need to. We'll tell you once we get there. If we remember.
We'll bring it up.
Shall I just reel off a bunch of random shit?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no. I have a segue. I have a proper segue. Here we go.
Go for it.
You know how you're talking about all the plot lines interlinking?
Uh-huh.
When they are digging underneath the tree and they clang into the metal, I was like, buried
Hatch.
metal, the hatch. It's very much like the hatch, and there's also a great transition at one point.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's some vocal work. I'm really hoping that there's an agent listening to this.
The many faces. The many voices of Ariel.
They start digging. There's a transition back into the island, which is Locke saying, what do you think it is? And then we transition back to the island and he's talking about, why do you think Michael is sick?
Uh-huh.
So what do you think it is that has made him ill? What illness does he have? But I think that's really interesting because they're digging and they're, you know, trying to find this thing buried under the ground, and he goes, what do you think it is?
Yeah. Very much so. Maybe they should show Kate the hatch.
Yeah, I'd actually really be interested to see what Kate thinks of that.
She just sort of punches a hole straight through solid steel into the side of it.
She headbutts the glass and it breaks instantly.
She's like, come on, let's go in.
Yeah, how did you guys not think of doing this?
Are you stupid?
Because I think Kate's a bit of a skeptic as well, don't you? She's not really involved in the kind of magical side of things.
No, but I do think she'd want to open it. I think she'd be on Jack's side of, like, there might be things we can use in there.
Yeah. What?
Worst case scenario, we use it for safety. I could think of much worse case scenarios.
He absolutely eats, honestly.
Because also,
so funny.
He's so right. Jack, what are you talking about?
We talked about a kind of Pandora's box analogy, didn't we? There could be all kinds of shit
think
down
of much
there.
worse case scenario.
A much worse case scenario.
It's giving, like, you know, in, like, episode 2, when they're like, oh, we can't, the jungle, trees are going to kill us, and he's like, no, what's knocking down the trees is going to kill you. Like,
yeah.
This is Saeed ever the practical.
Yeah. What I'm now imagining is he's like, I can't believe you, Jack. He goes to the camp and he's like, Kate, you're reasonable. come and look at this. And then Kate's like, I think we should open it. He's like, what?
He's like, come on, someone.
For fuck's sake, am I the only one thinking rationally here?
He's like, I'm going to go to Danielle. He goes to Danielle. They like pour out a glass of wine together and he's like, are they all wanted to open it? And she's like, are they crazy? They're going to get sick. And he's like, exactly. Over like wine and cards or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to think he just does that. I like to think he just disappears into the woods sometimes to go talk to her. He's just like, Danielle, you're not going to believe this.
I need to vent. Okay. Amazing. Discretion, John. He is so done with John's bullshit.
Jack is being such a bitch in this episode.
He is like so over John at this point.
It's like, John, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. With all due respect, John, you lied. That's when the bombastic side-eye comes in. And then, yeah, later on, he's like, you knew Kate was a criminal and you didn't tell everyone. He says, discretion. This is very much like Jack's sort of... It's like I said in Do No Harm. Like, this is the moment where Jack actually becomes the, like, leader in the sense that finally he has something he can give people instructions to do. Mm-hmm. And then I was saying how it's probably quite detrimental to him that then the one thing he's supposed to be good at, saving people's lives, is the thing he doesn't do. But I think in this episode, he's really kind of... He's like owning being in charge a little bit more. Yes.
He's very much like gone to the point of like, he doesn't say to him, you found the hatch and you didn't tell us. He said, you didn't tell me. He's like, you have all decided I'm in charge. That means tell me things.
Yeah. Yeah. He is definitely stepping into that role because he's also thinking about what's best for the camp. There might be stuff down there that we can use.
Yeah. I think that must be very weird for John as well, to be like, he's kept it secret because it's like his goal and everyone's like, no, we should open it. Like, he's had to convince Boone for all these weeks that they've got this, their destiny to open it. And Jack's like, well, yeah, we need to open it. And John's probably like, what?
And so he's like, what?
John's like, I didn't tell you guys, so I thought you were going to get mad at me. Yeah. And now Jack's on my side.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that is very weird. And it is kind of weird as a viewer as well, because
Jack and John on the same side of things is rare.
And Saeed has a point. There could be things way worse down there.
Yeah.
But also, we want the hatch to be open.
This is the thing.
I'm a huge hatch fan. I'm like, open that fucking thing. I need to know what's down there.
This is the thing, is it's like, you want to know what's in there, but you have to go, is it best to just leave it? But then it's like,
you couldn't. How could you? It would just eat at you, wouldn't it? Just like, what's there? What's there? You know that episode of Foster's where Blue finds out about the secret door? Secret door.
That's what John's been doing.
Yeah, that's this. Oh, my days. Niche reference, but honestly, I want to keep it in.
I just realised, is that a Star Trek reference? Isn't it called The Trouble with Squiggles?
Yes, that's a Star Trek
Trouble with Tribbles?
Yeah.
Because they're quite similar, aren't they, the little guys?
Yeah. The Tribbles in Star Trek are a race of aliens which are basically sentient pom-poms. It was done in the 60s. They didn't have a huge budget in terms of special effects.
I think the Kate part of this episode is kind of just not the most fun. But, like, I think the whole, like...
Oh, interesting.
Michael's been poisoned plotline. I would consider that the central plotline.
Yeah.
Not Kate trying to get on the raft. So it's kind of...
they are the one and the same.
I mean, as we've said, it's all intertwined. But, like, I would consider Michael to sort of be the central character of this episode on Island.
Yeah, maybe. Because I guess it's all about the raft, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I would say that's one plot line. If I were to try and separate them in this week, it would be flashback plot line. A plot is Kate wants to get on the raft. Sawyer wants to stop her from doing so. Michael's been poisoned. All of that jazz. B plot line, Saeed and Jack see the hatch. C plot line, Charlie gets a haircut.
Yeah, but then I guess it's like
they decrease in terms of severity.
Jack and Saeed look at the hatch is like 2 scenes, and like Charlie gets a haircut is like 1 scene. It's like the A plot line is kind of multiple plot lines.
Yes, I suppose
all together, because then you've also got Sun doesn't want Jin to go, Jin's insistent on leaving, and so she poisons him to try and keep him there. That's like its own thing. Like, this could have been a Sun and Jin episode.
Yeah.
And it could have been all about that.
That's a very good point.
You know?
Yeah. Also, side note, we forgot to say this last week, and we've waited until 1.5 hours in to say it. We're on a new disc.
Oh, yeah.
We're on a new disc in the DVDs. Last week, this week, and then the next 2 episodes are on this disc, which you think is the final disc, but guess what, lads? There's one more. And it has Sun. It has Sun on the cover. And I remember when we first, you know, we'd watched like the first 2 episodes, and I was like going through the DVD covers and stuff. And I was like, it seems weird that she's on the cover of one of them.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, she's kind of a background character, you know, she's not very relevant, but by the time we get to this point, she's so
important.
One of the main characters. And I think it's really fun, especially like even her picture on the cover. She's wearing that cardigan that she wears at the beginning.
That horrible beige cardigan.
Yes, and she's got like all the buttons done up and stuff. And you kind of see her in this episode and you go, look how far she's come.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, she is probably one of the characters who's changed the most over the course of series 1, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Who else do we think?
I mean, John,
yeah. Actually.
Well, to be fair, John from pre-Island to on Island has probably changed the most. But also on Island, like since him like playing backgammon with Walt to now, he's kind of the same.
Well, I mean, we liked him at the beginning, and you're a big John hater now at this point.
Like him.
So that's a big change.
That's a change, yeah. He's become a bit more annoying. I mean, Boone's changed quite a lot.
Boone has sadly departed.
He's changed a lot.
He's
changed from alive to dead.
He has. It's a pretty big transition in a person's life.
Pretty big change. Second biggest transition in his life.
The first one being
female to male.
I thought it was going to be being born. Oh, we don't have time to get into that.
Boone's trans to me. Boone and Charlie are clearly both trans men. I know this to be true. They told me.
I mean, Charlie's changed quite a lot. He's quit heroin.
He's quit heroin. That's a pretty big change.
Claire, she's gone from pregnant to not pregnant anymore.
To mother.
Yeah. Jack has gone from like, you know, spinal surgeon, alcoholic to leader of castaways on an island.
I mean, they've all changed.
They have.
But yeah, I would say Sun has probably changed the most out of everyone. Mm-hmm. Because it's also like she couldn't run away, but now she's like using her English to like interact with people. She's got these like queening out sessions with Kate that she's doing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's quite regular because like for them to just, because I think the plan, I don't think Kate went to Sun and was like, do you want to poison Jin? I think they were probably just chatting, and then she was like, I don't want him to go, and then Kate was like, well, I'm going to use this to my advantage. I feel like they probably just chat.
I think they do. I think they are friends, definitely. And it's also really important when you think about how desperately Sun wanted to leave Jin and how desperately she doesn't want him to leave now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though they're kind of still fighting. Do you know what I mean?
He still won't talk to her.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know. Jin doesn't even know why they're suddenly leaving tomorrow. Do you think about that? When Sun's like looking at Jin, I was like, oh, she's going to go over and be like, so this is the situation with the winds. They're going tomorrow. He just doesn't even...
No. I didn't think about that.
I mean, Jin and Michael have become, they're sort of queening out this episode. When like Sawyer like goes to go for Michael and Jin's like pushes him out.
I love that bit. I'm like, yes. They've got a very cute friendship going on, and Jin's cuff bracelet
still there
is looking great,
glinting in the sunlight.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that this week. I was like, oh. I think it was when he was tying the ropes.
Yeah,
I was like,
no, because I noticed it as well when he was tying the ropes, because I was like, it's still there. Mm-hmm. And Michael, you know, is the one who broke those handcuffs.
Yes. Wow. I mean, we've come quite a long way since that moment, haven't we?
Yeah.
Jin fucking attacked Michael.
Yeah, and think about that. And now he's stepping in to stop Sawyer from attacking him.
Wow.
Like, isn't that kind of wild?
We've come so far, guys. We've come so far.
And we've come very far.
We've grown and changed as people. My hair's green now.
I've not changed much physically, but, you know, we're in a different house. I was thinking actually today, because we had the window open. It's quite hot at the minute, and we had the window open before we were recording, and right as we started recording, I saw a fly buzzing around, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
About when we talked about The Fly in, like, episode 2.
And also, like, it was, you know, sunny when we first... It was the height of summer when we started this podcast last year. And now we've gone through the whole of winter and it's getting warmer again. And it's like, wow.
Full circle.
It all comes back around.
All comes back around. You know, I would never have considered it all comes back around to be one of the, like, significant quotes. Like, the ones... It's, like, not one of the ones people quote all the time.
No.
It's always, like, live together, die alone or whatever. But, like, the amount it's come up, it all comes back around is, like, so...
really
crucial
important.
To me.
And I would never have even remembered it if it weren't for this podcast.
If it weren't for us talking about it.
Yeah. So honestly, I feel like it's the quote of the podcast, really, rather than the quote of the Lost television show. Personally. So if you want to comment, it all comes back around.
Please do.
You know, plain emoji. The goofy emoji, the one where the tongue is sticking out to the side, the goofy one. Then please do. Do we want to wrap up now? Should we just go in? I started doing that voice as a joke, but I'm like, do you know what?
Yeah.
I think we're done here.
We're done.
I think we're done here. Yeah. Please follow Lost All Caps podcast on all the social medias.
Yeah.
Do it. Go for it.
TikTok, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube. It's all of them?
Yeah.
I always want to say Twitter, and then I'm like, we don't have a Twitter.
No. Twitter's not
and we
even
never
real.
will.
I think, based on when this is going to be released, it's still before the 30th of May. If it's... Check your calendars now, guys.
What, before Brighton Fringe?
No. The York one.
Because I was going to say last week you were like, it's happened already.
Yeah. Have a look at your calendars, guys. Open it. Is it the 30th of May yet? If not, fantastic. You still have time to book tickets to come and see my show. If it is, I'm sorry. We haven't planned ahead, clearly. I'm doing my solo stand-up show, Ariel Hebditch, Skeleton, Out of the Closet, in York on the 30th of May. It's at the York Theatre Royal. It's going to be super fun. You can go on the website and get tickets for that. If indeed you can.
It's not the 30th of May.
I'm also going to be doing more shows in the coming months, so stay tuned. If you follow me on Instagram at Ariel Hebditch or at skeleton.out.of.the.closet, then you can find more information on there. You can also follow at Ariel Hebditch on TikTok and YouTube as well.
Amazing. And we will see you guys next week.
We certainly will. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. And we'll see you next week for Exodus Part 1.
Oh, guys.
We're into the end game, guys.
We are. So this is the 3-part finale.
And I'm so
series.
Excited.
Oh my god.
Like, it's crazy.
I've been really looking forward to getting to finale territory.
Yeah.
Because every single season, I would say, the finale's always good.
The finale eats every time.
Every time. And the finale of season 1 is fantastic. And obviously we've had an incredible season, haven't we?
Yeah, amazing season. And like, what's coming is about to blow your mind.
Oh my god, yes.
You don't even know. You don't even know.
Oh, it's so exciting. Guys, we'll see you next week. We're going to be having a great time. I just know it.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will see you then.